Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Malak, Yahushua. And today's lesson is what drugs were like in the ancient world. All right, because there's nothing new under the sun, as it states in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. So they were actually doing drugs in the ancient world, whether that was cocaine, sniffing dope, shooting dope. That's cool. They was eating mushrooms in the ancient world for psychological highs. These things were taking place in the ancient world. So there's nothing new under the sun. Get Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9.
Ecclesiastes.
Yep.
All right. It's the book of Ecclesiastes,
Chapter 1 and verse 9.
chapter 1 and verse 9, and it
Right.
reads, the thing that have been, it is that which shall be.
They say the thing that has been is that which shall be. So ancient world, Salaki, so in the ancient world they was doing drugs and drug trading was going on of illegal narcotics, and these things are going to take place here in America and all over the earth. Right? There's plenty of drugs that's running rapid in the streets of America.
Mike probably because farther.
Khan, Salaki. Right, bear with me. Right?
Excuse this. You get that.
Right? So, like as I was saying, there's plenty of drugs that's running rapid in the streets of America. You got the fentanyl, opioid epidemic, and that just reached over 100,000 overdoses. Right? I was just looking at that. Right? Fentanyl has reached over 100,000 drug overdoses in America. That's the real epidemic, man. They keep talking about the Rona and the 19. No, people getting put to death by way of these drugs out here. Gun violence. They say overdose surpass car accidents and gun violence. So this is a real plague that's plaguing the streets of America, chiefly the so-called white man. Because the curses are now upon our enemies, as it states in Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. You understand? So read that again. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9.
Right.
The thing that have been, it is that which shall be.
The thing that has been is that which shall be. Read on.
And that which is done is that which shall be done.
Read on.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
There's what?
There is no new thing under the sun.
There is no new thing under the sun. So this is not a new thing on the earth. You see man and look at, oh my God, what's going on? This has never happened. Yes, it has happened, man. Right? Everything is regenerated and recycled on the earth. Even man, as it states in Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 6. All right? Or 6 and 10. Keep reading on to that.
Verse 10.
Right?
Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new?
Right, so can you look at people smoking weed or people sipping lean and say, oh, that's a new thing on the earth? No, because they have been doing that in ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, all throughout civilization. Keep reading.
It have been already of old time.
What the Bible say?
It have been already of old time.
It have been already of old time. Read on.
Which was before us.
Which was what?
Which was before us.
Which was before us. So all these different narcotics was before us of old time.
That's right.
So we have to abstain from our fleshly lust, as it states in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11. If you're struggling with weed, you have to repent and abstain from that. If you're struggling with doing pills or you sipping lean or whatever the case may be, you have to repent from that wicked lust. Let's get 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11, because in all actuality, it's destroying you. The scriptures tell you how a man is cruel unto his own flesh. You don't want to be that brother that troubles your own flesh. And when they be on that dope, they go a day without taking that dope, they get sick because their body is so dependent upon it. They go through withdrawals, they start diarrheaing on themselves, hurling with themselves. They say they go through the worst flu that you can ever imagine. They hear voices in their head. So really that's a spirit that's on them. Right? The drug, man, he done cooked up and whipped up that potion and he put a damn spell on them by serving them those different narcotics. That's real potion right there, man. You got it, brother.
I had a quick point. Remember the account where y'all was shot cast that spirit out of that young man and he fell on the ground? So that spirit was heavy on him.
Yeah, that spirit was heavy on him. That's a good point, brother. So when you casting out these spirits and you trying to abstain from these different drugs, you go through that withdrawal, right? So bring it out.
It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims,
Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims. Read on.
abstain from fleshly lusts.
Do what?
Abstain from fleshly lusts,
Abstain from fleshly lust. Read on.
which war against the soul.
Which do what?
Which war against the
So
soul.
this fleshly lust wars against your spirit, because people do things against their morale to receive these drugs. So really, they destroying their own spirit. Get Proverbs 8:36. Some people give up their vows for these drugs. They go rob, steal, defraud their neighbors, all to obtain these illegal narcotics. So they selling out their soul to this particular substance. Bring it out, Cain.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 8, and verse 36.
Right.
But he that sinneth against me,
He that sinneth against the Lord, read on.
wrongeth his own
He
soul.
do what?
Wrongeth his own soul.
Stop wronging your own soul by smoking weed, popping pills, doing perks, right? These are the things our people are into, man. Hey, we used to be into these things in the world. Brothers had a weed thing, all they do was smoke weed all day, popping perks, right down, sipping lean, acting a damn fool with a gun on their hip, man, trying to be something that they not. Bring it out.
All they that hate me love death.
If you hate the Lord, you love death. So when you do these drugs, you literally love death, man. Because you know the drug can kill you. For example, fentanyl. People continuously does that drug, but they know it kills people every day. Right? I believe they say about 2 people die from drug overdoses in Colorado. Every day, 2 people die from drug overdoses. So you know this drug can kill you, but you continue to do it because you love death. You love the feeling of it, and you rather risk your life just to obtain that feeling and that euphoria. That's sick. Get Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 15. That's addiction. And the only way you can shake addiction is by seeking the Lord. All that rehab and detox and 90-day program, that's not going to help you escape this. You got to seek the Lord in these last days. Repent, keep the commandments, pray, fast. Even the Lord told you that some demons only go out but by praying and fasting. That's in Matthew chapter 17, verse 21. So you putting on a patch, or you detoxing, or you putting in another alternate drug to wean you off that drug, that's not going to help you overcome your addiction. Seeking the Lord is, having faith is. Scripture tell you if you got faith as a mustard seed, you can remove mountains. And that mountain, that can represent the nations, of course, but it can also represent a strong sin that has a hold on you. So if you got faith in the Lord, you can remove that strong sin and overcome it. That's that mountain.
That's right.
Bring it out.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, and verse 15.
Right?
Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death.
Our people make a covenant with death. When you put that needle on your vein, and when you put that damn perk 30 on your damn tongue and swallow it, or when you damn roll up that weed, that's you making a covenant with death. Read on.
And with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us.
It shall what?
It shall not come unto
I
us.
ain't gonna overdose this time. I'm gonna just take a little bit, put it on the spoon, kind of cook it up, and I'm gonna do my. I'll be all right. Hold on. Bring it out.
For we have made lies our refuge.
We have did what?
We have made lies our refuge.
Our people make lies their refuge. Oh, this is one time. All right, this is one time. You know, I'm good. I can handle it. Brother, you making lies your refuge, man. Oh, this is just a little bit of weed shit or something.
I'm not addicted.
I'm not addicted.
I'll stop when I want to.
I'll stop when I can stop really anytime. We heard Jake say this. Hey, I can stop really anytime.
Yeah,
Brother, well, if you can stop anytime, how about stop right now? How about repent, keep the laws of the Lord? How about overcome this addiction? How about stop giving into your lust? With that, I yield.
You guys precept?
We can get into the video.
Wisdom of Solomon.
Chapter 60, verse 12.
I got some precept. I'm gonna bring it out.
Yeah, 16. Go ahead at 12. It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, and verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plasters that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things.
Right, stop thinking the only way you gotta run them. The only way for you to get off these drugs is going through rehab. It's not the only way. Right? We've seen a lot of brothers, right, that came off the drugs through prayer and fasting. We've seen a lot. My grandfather did it. You know? You don't gotta take this pill and that pill and then you gotta go through rehabilitation and squeeze the ball and kind of, look, that's not the only way. This word is very strong. Hey, just the other day, a brother, was bringing out the precepts, and he's like, he's literally kind of leaning into this, every time a precept came out. He said, every time, literally. It was cutting him. He said, nah, I can't, brother saw it.
I got a precept.
It was nuts.
Really, literally.
Hold on, you can go ahead.
Right.
You read on.
God.
It's the book of wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 13.
No, 12 again.
Verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster.
We didn't come out there with nicotine patches until the brother stopped smoking cigarettes. And we brought up the word.
Yes.
And that word made him stop the cigarettes down. Go ahead.
That restored them to health.
See, it restored him to health. That's what the word did. Right? It heals the brokenhearted. And his heart was broken. You can tell it in his spirit. And the word was cutting him literally just side to side, groaning. Go ahead.
But thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things.
See, the Lord healeth all things. Because you can go to Esau all day, right? I don't mean you're going to be healed, although he may be a physician. He knows certain sciences. Hey, it's all the will of the Lord.
That's right.
And if you want to pray, you want to fast, you're doing your due diligence. And then the Lord is going to heal you. Right? We read about that with the King Asa.
Second Chronicles 16.
That's right.
Right, I got a precept. Right,
Good.
let me bring this out. Right. This Psalm chapter 141 and verse 5. Because the word does cut. As it states in Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12. This word is a double-edged sword. So this word can change your life. All you got to do is seek the Lord in these last days and put in the work behind it. So bring it out. Psalms 141 and verse 5.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 141 and verse 5. Let righteousness smite me.
What the Bible says?
Let righteous smite me.
Let the righteous smite me. Read on.
It shall be a kindness.
It shall be a what?
It shall be a kindness.
So when the righteous smites us, it's a kindness. We like to get cut up by the word of the Lord because it helps our spirit. Right? If you slothful, you want a brother to cut you up. Hey, brother, get off your ass, brother. You've been slothful lately. You're not in the spirit, brother. And he's trying to get on you, rebuke you sharply. Now you back in the spirit and you back on fire. So you want a man that's going to smite you and uplift you in righteousness. You don't need no comment around you, man. You need brothers that's going to tell you what it is and what it ain't.
Right.
Bring it out.
Let the righteous smite me. It shall be a kindness.
It shall be a what?
It shall be a kindness.
It shall be a kindness. So this is kind for us to get rebuked in the spirit of the Lord. If brothers out there struggling with these different things, there's still repentance. You can repent and keep the commandments of the Lord. It's not the end all be all. But you have to choose this day whether you want to serve the Most High or serve Mammon, the spiritual demon Satan. All right? Go ahead, Ken.
It's the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1.
Then I got the
Come and let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn, and he will heal us.
See that? So the Lord said he will heal us. He didn't say drugs. He didn't say narcotics. He didn't say fentanyl. He didn't say perk. He didn't say Xan. He didn't say damn weed. He didn't say none of these things will heal us. He said he will heal us through the spirit of the Lord. Keep reading.
He hath smitten, and he will bind us up.
See that? With that, I yield.
I just want one precept, so I can get that. We get one precept. It's Rack 14 and 5. Look, it's Rack chapter 14 and verse 5. Bring it out.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 5.
Right?
He that is evil to himself,
He that is evil to himself, right?
to whom will he be good?
You see that? So if you're evil to yourself, you're intaking these different drugs, different things like that. How you gonna do good to anybody else, man? If you're doing evil to yourself, you made a covenant with death, man. Right, read?
He shall take, it's like it, he shall not take pleasure in his goods.
You see that? So hey, the Lord said, man, you can't do evil unto yourself. Because how you gonna do anybody else any good? Like basically good for nothing in this thing, man. Right, so we're gonna go into this video, going into different drugs in ancient Greece and Rome, including Egypt, all these ancient nations, because there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right. And real quick, before we go into that, here's the definition of pharmacy. Because everybody want to go to the pharmacy, get their pharmaceutical drugs. You got to go into the definition of things. So this is pharmacy. It comes from the Greek word pharmakeia, which literally means sorcery and witchcraft. Pharmakia, the use or the administering of drugs. Poisoning, sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry and fostered by it. Metaphorically, the deceptions and the seductions of idolatry. Witchcraft, hatred. I mean, witchcraft, that's what pharmacy means. So when you taking these drugs, you put yourself under a spell because the damn doctor, he done whipped up these different potions and put it together to get a chemical reaction out of you so you could be hooked on these different drugs so he can make money. Right? That's what it's about. It's about greed with the so-called white man.
He's selling spirits.
Yeah, he's selling spirits.
Wine and spirits.
Wine and spirits. He's putting these drugs on you to get a chemical reaction out of you so you can be hooked on these different drugs. Right? That's how the pharmaceutical company makes billions of dollars.
You full screen that video too.
So we about to play the video, and real quick, get Leviticus Chapter 19, verse 31. Let's see what the Lord said about witchcraft. Because pharmacy, we just read the definition, is witchcraft. If you don't believe me, you can look it up your damn self. Bring it out.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 31, and it reads, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them.
So regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek out the wizards to be defiled by them. You keep seeking out Esau, because you got, damn it, I hit him, right? Then you go to Esau, and he give you all these different drugs. Now you hooked, brother. Now you on these different painkillers. And the minute you stop taking these painkillers, you get sick. So you keep going back to Esau to get these painkillers, and all because of a back injury. Right? So don't be deceived by the so-called white man and his sorcery. You got it, brother.
I got a quick point. It's pretty much what my mother was into. She was what they call a hypochondriac, right? A person who is abnormally anxious about their health, always finding themselves in a hospital, right? Doctors, they're gonna give you some stuff, and every time they write that prescription, who's getting paid? You or them? They getting paid. Every prescription they write, every vaccine that they give, hey, they're getting paid. They're not getting paid unless they write you, damn note. And it's sloppy ass handwriting nobody can read. And then you give it to the pharmacist and say, okay. It's always in cursive, never in print. Nobody knows who they are. You just give it to the pharmacist and say, here you go. You're ready, your medicine is ready. And then you pop it, and then your mind is bad.
Yeah. That's right. And we're gonna play this video, man, because this drug thing is real, man. You got a lot of people hooked on drugs in these last days. Right? You still got a lot of our people that's hooked on these drugs, but you also got the so-called white man that's getting played. And we give all praises to Yahweh for that. Get Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. You see these Edomites hooked on damn drugs, they damn leaning over, they got elephant leg, they scratching, they restless, they can't control themselves, they stink, right? All hell breaking loose because they hooked on them different drugs. Bring it up.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7.
Right.
And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thy enemies.
So now the curses are reversing and getting placed on the enemies of the Lord, which are the Edomites. Keep reading.
And on them that hate thee.
And on what?
And on them that hate thee.
And on them that hate thee, man. So again, the opioid epidemic, the fentanyl reached over 100,000 drug overdoses in the U.S. It's a lot of damn people, man. That's literally people every day that's dying from it. Mainly the so-called white man, so we rejoice at his downfall. But our people that's hooked on this, repent, keep the commandments of the Lord, man. This is serious.
Look at these damn rap artists, man. Like Pimp C, right? DMX, man. You got who was another one? The new
Juice WRLD.
Yeah, Juice WRLD. Yeah, the new man. So this stuff is serious, man. Then you got rappers like Future. He said he don't even do them drugs, man. He just rap about it.
He just rap about it. That's
right.
all.
That's demonic, man. So that's how these people are, man.
And then you listen to this music, you think they actually doing this. So now you want to go get some perks. Now
That's what Juice WRLD said. Juice WRLD said Future inspired him to do drugs. Where is Juice WRLD at? Dead.
Hey man, Future got a lot of blood on his hands.
And then you got what's his name, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross. They was having seizures right off of lean. That's madness, man.
Get Exodus chapter 20 and verse 6.
Things bigger.
We're gonna get into it.
Dropping dead, man. That's crazy.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me.
It's like it.
Play the video.
Today, drug barons like Pablo Escobar and Griselda Blanco are known for revolutionizing the international drug trade.
I remember that.
But if one wants to know who invented this trade, they would have to travel thousands of years back in time. Traces of drug trades between various early civilizations can be found as far back as 1600 BC.
1600
Welcome
BC.
to Nutty History,
That's the Bronze.
and let's find out what ancient narcos were like in Greek and Roman civilization. The taboo around mentioning recreational drugs is nothing new in history. That's why there's not a lot of mention of this in ancient records, and those mentions are only a few. One will find historical mention of drugs mostly in medicinal and religious contexts. But what about for recreational purposes? Now that doesn't mean ancients were not a fan of being high as a kite, because there were more than a dozen ways to alternate reality for oneself. Thanks to advancements in archaeology, translation, and science in the last 2 decades, there is insight available on what drug abuse would have been like in ancient civilizations. The 2 drugs that stood out in the drug trade in ancient Greece and Rome were opium and cannabis.
Stop there real quick.
But at home,
They say opium and cannabis. Those were the 2 drugs that stood out. Ain't those the 2 drugs that stand out now?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's the same exact drugs that's they on now. Like you got them medical weed dispensaries on damn near every 2 blocks, man. When you riding up 8 Mile or 7 Mile. Like so-called medical weed, man.
Always
And the
love
thing with marijuana is the CBC or CDC, whatever it's called.
CBD.
Yeah, CBD, that actually is the healing element. But they put THC in it, that's the hot element. So how's it for medical purposes when you're lowering the CBD to increase the THC so people can get a high off of it, right? So that's off as hell, man.
Right, so this is opium, a reddish brown, heavy scented, addictive drug prepared from the juice, the juice of the opium poppy, used as a narcotic. Used as a narcotic in the medicine as an anesthetic. I believe that's how you say it, anesthetic. Right. So this comes from the poppy plant.
And I want to get a precept too. Get Sirach 38, right? Verse number 4, man. That's wickedness, man.
Pull it up on the screen.
You gotta have it first. It's cool. Yeah. All right, bring it out.
It's the book of Sirach. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 4. Right?
That thing ain't working.
Yeah. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 4.
Right.
The Lord hath created medicine out of the earth.
Right.
And he that is wise will not abhor them.
So let me get that mic. I'll make sure they can hear me. Right, so the Lord said he made medicine out of the earth. He that is wise will not abhor them. So medicine does come out of the earth.
Right.
But these people take opium and make these crazy pills out of it, make lean out of it, make damn heroin out of it, and now you shooting it in your veins. These things aren't meant for that, right? Get Psalms 104 and 14.
Real quick, it works for its proper use, man. Like opium and things of that nature, it works for its proper use, right? But when you take it and you ingest it in your bloodstream and you pop it and you abuse it, that's when it becomes detrimental to your health and your spirit. Because we actually dealt with these things in the ancient world, right? Might have drunk teas, right? Got the smoke from this different opium to heal your body. If you was going through some kind of pain, you had to take these opiums to relieve your pain, right?
That precept, bring it up.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 104 and verse 14.
Right?
He causes the grass to grow for the cattle,
Right, so grass grows for the cattle, read.
and herb for the service of man,
Right, herbs for the service of man, read.
that he may bring forth food out of the earth.
Drugs.
Food out of the earth.
Right, so it's meant for food and medicine, man. Right, it's not meant to be abused, rolled up in smoke, or injected into your bloodstream. So you can get like you called it, reality warping damn device, man. Hey, that's witchcraft, man.
I got a quick precept. Get Matthew chapter 27, verse 34. Because they try to give Yahushua some kind of, relief when he was on that cross. Matthew's 27 and 34.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 27 and verse 34.
Right?
They gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall.
Mingled with what?
Mingled with
They
gall.
said it was mingled with gall. Right? Read on.
And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink.
And he would not drink it because he said, look, I got to go through this affliction. So real quick, let's look up gall in that context. Out of the blue letter. So it's not a new thing under the sun. This has always been going on, even from the days of Yahushua, going all the way back to the Egyptian Empire. So this is Matthew 27 and 34. Bear with me. Salakia. Alright, so when you go into it, it say, from the greenish hue, gall or bile, poison or an antidote, wormwood, poppy, etc. It says poppy, you understand? And that comes from the opium plant. But they were trying to give Yahushua something to relieve his pain while he was getting crucified. But he said, I'm not drinking that. I got to go through the affliction for my brethren. So that's mighty right there. Just imagine that. You getting down crucified. Everything hurt on you, man. You down crying on blood. You jammed up. We can't really explain the pain that Yahushua went through.
Crown of thorns.
Crown of thorns. And here it is, they trying to kind of help him out, trying to give him something to relieve his pain. Kind of taste it, spit it out. Oh man, I gotta go through this pain. Right? So
It's tough, man. Continue on with the video. We'll go back.
Out in the drug trade in ancient Greece and Rome were opium and cannabis. But at home, ergot was a drug of its own kind. The fungus called ergot has played a surprisingly stealthy but substantial role in the Salem witch trials, the French Revolution, and the Dancing Plague. Even back in ancient Greece, as far as...
So they was dealing with fungus in the ancient world. Right? Real quick, give me Leviticus the 13th chapter. Right? Because you don't want to deal with fungus. And that's what they eat now. They eat mushrooms. Now you got mushrooms that you eat that you're not going to get a reaction out of. It's just mushrooms. But then you got certain mushrooms, you eat it, and all hell break loose. The room starts spinning. You turn into a damn whatever the hell. You see Bugs Bunny. You see damn Clifford. All hell break loose. You see stars. You in heavens. Look, man. Right now you high. Right now you're in an altered reality because you took these so-called magical mushrooms. This fungus. But you ain't supposed to be eating it like the brother said. Get Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. That's a fungus. So if you eating fungus, anything can happen to you. You don't know, you been taking the damn spirits, man. It literally grows on a rock. So you eat it and you ingest it and you, God knows what it does to your chemical and your brain mentality.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what that does. That magical mushroom, so called.
Bring this out, Genesis chapter 1 verse 29.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 29.
I was going to say it's a movie called Tenacious D with Jack Black. They took some damn mushrooms and all hell broke loose, man. It was damn flying. Right? Well, they thought they was flying. Right? They really was damn out in the forest just damn staring at each other. But really in their mind, they was damn flying on a guitar. Right?
That's mad.
So bring this up.
That's like emo.
Yeah, it's like eating mold. We can get to that. Leviticus 13.
It's the book.
Genesis 129.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed,
Right, so fungus doesn't grow from a seed, it grows from spores. Read on.
which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. It's like a seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Shall be for what?
For meat.
So the Lord gave us herbs that bear seed for the purpose of eating it for medicinal purposes, man. The Lord never gave the Israelites mushrooms and said, eat it, it's gonna be good for you. But now you got like this new age thing where they saying, look, eat these mushrooms, it's good for you. Eat this sea moss, right? Eat this carrageen, and so on and so forth. But really that doesn't help you, that destroys your body. Right? Don't be lied to by the so-called white man. Oh, sea moss is good for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of you jakes that proclaim themselves to be physicians, you're off. Because you're always telling our people going to see my
Dr.
guy.
CB.
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah,
CB spirit.
that Dr. CB spirit,
Dr.
man.
Seaver.
Yeah, he'll lead you into hell and destruction. and your body all turned out.
And he was
Right.
smoking. I seen one video, Dr. Seaver, he kind of had a blunt.
Yeah, he was running around.
And he had a woman all around with Dr. Siebel. He didn't know what was going on, man.
Yeah.
Right? Now you gonna see a lot of jakes, they gonna look at this and say, oh man, y'all going off, man. Dr. Siebel, he was the man. He did this, he did that. Where's the proof?
Right.
Right? We don't believe that hype about Dr. Siebel. Right?
The brother probably made 3 good points, but outside of that, hey, everything is probably because he told you can eat unclean things such as mushrooms, sea moss,
He smoke weed.
fungus. Brother smoke weed.
I'm not gonna take medical advice from somebody that smokes weed.
No.
So this is Leviticus chapter 13. One second, I forget what it was.
1840.
Get verse 46. Right? So that falls in the lines of mildew, right? Fungus, yeast, things that doesn't grow from a seed, but rather from spores. So it could grow in a rock, it could grow on a wall, a brick wall. Right? Remember around my old neighborhood, man, on the brick wall was damn yellow, damn mildew fungus growing everywhere. Right? And that come from people peeing on the wall. You got it, brother.
Yeah, I had my brother, he had fungus on his foot. The ceiling fell on his foot, he had got fungus on it.
See that? See that?
I think he didn't eat it either.
No.
Get Leviticus 13 what I told
46.
Yeah, 46.
It's
right.
It's the book of Leviticus chapter 13 and verse 46. All the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled.
He shall be defiled. Right? So in that case, your brother was kind of defiled. He had that fungus on him. Right? Bring it up.
He is unclean. He shall dwell alone.
He got to dwell in his own separate facility. Because that damn fungus could damn hop on anybody else, man. He kind of land with his woman with his fungus foot. Then now she got fungus foot. Then your daughter got fungus foot. Then the dog got fungus paw. Then all hell break loose, man. Right? Bring it up.
He shall dwell alone. Without the camp shall his habitation be. The garment also that the plague of leprosy is in, whether it be a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it be in the work or woof of linen or in woolen, whether in a skin or in anything made of skin. And if the plague be greenish or reddish in the garment,
Right? It's got greenish or reddish in a garment. So you got mildews that erupt within these different garments. So if your garment got mildew and it's infested and it's spread it, you gotta burn that garment. Because if you throw it out, somebody might see it and say, ooh, hey, I got a new garment. They put it on. Right? You got like a homeless and less fortunate brothers and sisters. They see garments and clothes on the street. They just pick it up and wear it.
easy like fire.
That's right. So you don't want to throw a mildewed garment. You got your homeless brother that kind of walk by. He doesn't know better. He's ignorant of the law. He said, well, I can get this right. I can clean this off. Then he go in the bathroom, get a toothbrush and some soap, and he trying to scrub the mildew off, and he kind of got it to where it looked like it's clean, but it's not really clean. Because that mildew is warped within that garment. All right? So that's why the Lord said just burn the whole garment. Keep reading.
And if the plague be greenish or reddish in the garment or in the skin, either in the work or in the woof or in anything of the skin, it is a plague of leprosy, and shall be shewed unto the priest. And the priest shall look upon the plague and shut up it that have the plague 7 days.
Quarantine, right?
7 days.
Go to verse 52.
Verse 52. He shall therefore burn that garment.
He shall do what?
He shall therefore burn that garment.
He shall burn that garment. Read on.
Whether wart or woof, in woolen or in linen, or anything of skin wherein the plague is. For it is a fretting leprosy. It shall be burnt in the fire.
See that? So it's mildew. Right? So when you drink or eat of these mushrooms, you're eating of that mildew and that fungus. So stop eating these so-called magical mushrooms that put a spirit on you. Now you enter in some kind of different dimension and all hell break loose. You seeing spirits. That stuff real, man. You actually see spirits. You begin to hallucinate. Right? And that's what a lot of drugs, PCP. Like where I'm from, that was big. I'm doing PCP, man.
Hey, we know the brother in camp did PCP. He left camp early with PCP.
Yeah, brothers do that PCP, man. That K2, right? It gives you a psychological high. You hallucinate. You don't see reality. Like how we talking right now, we bringing out the word. This is reality. But when you take these drugs, you enter into a different reality. It's real, man.
Delusions in another dimension.
Yeah, you're literally in another dimension. You got a physical world and you got an invisible world. When you eat of these mushrooms and you smoke that weed or you do these different drugs, you enter into another world. That's why people, that's right, brother. That's why people, when they take drugs, all hell break loose. Right? I heard stories, dudes take PCP and they jump off the roof, thought they can fly. You know? Yeah, my father told me about his friend. He did that back in the day. Right? He took that he smoked that PCP, and he thought he could fly. And he damn jumped off the damn building and killed himself.
Wow, in the spirit world.
Yeah, the spirits was talking. You can fly. You can fly. Right? He think he can damn fly, and he think he got wings, and he think he damn Superman in this thing. And he find out he's not Superman. He find out he's under that influence. I read one story where a man was high on PCP in New Jersey, and he tried to take a baby out the stroller and destroy it.
I see that.
It was a man real quick. He had his roommate's face.
Yeah.
You know, for real. Yeah, his roommate's face. You know.
Yeah.
He ate man's flesh.
Yeah.
It was a sodomite. It was a different case. He smoked some K2, and he was like going around the city. He ate somebody.
Yeah.
Just take a bite out.
Yeah, they got the drug called Flocka down there in Florida. They call that the zombie drug.
Yeah.
Hey man, I've seen brothers off that PCP, man. It's they kind of stuck. They get the drooling. You can literally do anything to them when they high off that drug. You can punch them in the face. You can kick them in the ass. Like you can just take advantage of them, man. When they on them drugs.
I saw in high school, it was a brother, he was off something. They like laced him.
Yeah.
And he was butt naked in the elevator. They taking pictures of him.
Oh yeah. I seen the Eve do that, man. This was back in the world. We was all on the basketball court, and she was smoking PCP, and she just started taking off her clothes, man. And we all, everybody seen it. They took out their camera. They was recording her, right? And she was high off that PCP. I know a brother named Cheddar Bob. All he did was down smoke PCP, man. Right? For real. All he did was smoke PCP. I damn seen him at the 7-Eleven one time. It was damn snowing. All hell was breaking loose back then. I kind of seen him, and he was high as hell, man. He couldn't talk. He was tripping up on his speech. So them drugs will really destroy your mentality, man.
It's crazy. Hey, I had a family member, it was snow. It was like 5 inches on the ground, 4. It's like 2 in the morning. He decided to go out and start shoveling the snow.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I got to, I just got to. End up asking him.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure, it's a walkway for tomorrow. It's 2 in the morning. Go to sleep.
And they don't care about if it's snowing or nothing like that, because they so high and they off the influence. And yeah, ain't no exaggeration.
Yeah, correct.
I was young as hell when this happened. No exaggeration, man. He walked out. It was snowing. It was a snowy night. He walked outside and down fell in the snow. I said, man, you all right, man? Get up. And he just wasn't hearing it, man, because he was off that PCP. You got it.
It was like Smokey in the chicken.
Yeah.
That was PCP he smoked, right?
Inky dust.
Yeah, well, that's PCP.
Yeah, I know that.
Right. But let's go back to the video.
1600 BC, it is believed that a cult called Demeter and Persephone used ergot to induce visions. The goal was to awaken the Eleusinian mysteries. They convened at Eleusis in ancient Greece every year to perform secret religious rites descending to Hades before returning to the living world and reuniting with Demeter, her mother and the goddess of fertility. To attain the Eleusinian mysterious,
And you had to be hallucinating to think this shit is real.
hallucinogenic beverage. Drinking ergot-laced Kikion was described as a spiritual progression, and they believed it unlocked the experience of death and rebirth. It's hard to conclude if ergot from locally grown barley was the active psychotropic ingredient in Kikion or not, but some historians point to it as a possibility for its vision-inducing qualities.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. I think I found these
hallucinating.
I love everything in the pharmacy. They got some snakes on the side. Like that rod, you got two snakes running and out. That just got two snakes on the side. Why is always snakes on?
Come on, the med star symbol.
Yeah, that's
Same symbol for the military.
That's new shaitan, right? That's in the scriptures too.
That's just that's an idol.
Yeah, that's an idol.
Poppy.
I'll again. Yeah, they got that from the
There's a reason the
scriptures.
term
When
poppy
Moses
appears a
built
lot.
matter of fact, you can bring it out. Exodus chapter 21. Right, the rod with the snake wrapped around it.
Two snakes. Yeah.
Matter of fact, get 2 Kings chapter 18 verse 4. That's a better one. 2 Kings 18 and 4.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 4.
Right.
For it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets
2
of the
Kings
Lord.
18 and 4.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 4. And it
Right.
reads, he removed the high places.
This is King Hezekiah.
He
Righteous
removed-
man. He removed the high places. Read on.
Like he removed the high places and break the images and cut down the groves and break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had
He
made.
did what?
He broke the break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had
He
made.
said he break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made in the wilderness. When you read Exodus 21, Numbers 21, I believe it was.
Yeah, Numbers 21.
Nah, Numbers 21, verse 7 on that.
And men started worshiping that.
And men said, ugh, sexy, ugh,
And everything.
right? And the so-called white man worships that serpent,
On the Baphomet too.
you know?
It's on the Baphomet. Yeah, you can.
There's more on that.
On the precept.
Yeah.
For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it.
They did what?
Burn incense to
They
it.
said they burnt incense to it, which represents the commemoration of worshiping that serpent. All right. So now you got the popular poppy, the poppy plant.
That's mad.
Bring it up. All right.
There's a reason the term poppy appears a lot in fantasy novels written in modern times concerning medicinal and recreational usage. For ancient Romans and Greeks, it was certainly more than just a pretty plant, and it was perfectly legal.
It was
One can observe its prevalent.
They say it was perfectly legal. Right, so they were trying to give Yahushua that vinegar mixed with gall. They were trying to give him that pain relieving product coming from that poppy. You got it.
Certainly more than just a pretty plant, and it was perfectly legal. One can observe its prevalent use as a motif on statues and engravings to see how common poppy was popped by the population of Roman Greece. See what I did there? Archaeologists have discovered that as early as 1600 BC, the ancient world was constructing small flasks in the shape of poppy capsules, that is the bulging ball under the flower's petal that yields opium. It's not hard to guess why these flasks were made in such peculiar shape and what their function was, but thanks to forensic analysis, the residuals in excavated capsules have confirmed that these flasks were meant to carry not only opium, but a variety of psychoactive substances. Excavations have revealed that these jars and capsules were found throughout the Levant, Egypt, and the Middle East. The uniformity in design confirms that these were mass-produced.
Pause this.
Pause it. Damn, crack pipe, man.
That look like a damn crack pipe, man. That looks like a goddamn crack pipe. Where they putting all these substances in it, you know, and they storing it.
Mad.
You gotta light it. You can't just like put the light thing in there and just, that's it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So they were smoking
Under
opium.
organized manufacturing units. It's believed that opium must have arrived in ancient Egypt through Mesopotamia and Egypt. Egypt was quite big on opium cultivation, and a number of varieties of Egyptian opium were available in ancient Greece. In the classical era, the extract of the plant was known as Opium Babyicum, after the city of Wasit, which the Greeks knew as Thebes. Another version, Opium cyrenaica, was a slightly different version of the plant that happened to grow to the west in Libya. Apart from importing a lot of opium, ancient Greeks grew their own as well. Dioscorides wrote about the opium harvesting technique in detail. He suggested that to make opium, farmers must wait until the dew has dried away to cut lightly with a knife around the top of the plant. They must take care not to cut the inside. Instead, cut straight down on the outside of the capsule. When fluid comes out, wipe it with a finger onto a spoon. Upon returning, one can harvest more of the residue after it has thickened, and yet more the following day. For the Romans, the usage of opium saw evolution. Citizens of Rome used opium-made Cretic wine as a sleep aid. For good times, they consumed meconium, a drink made of poppy leaves, which could be considered as a...
That's that lean right there, man. Don't they drink that lean, they kind of get sleepy. They doze off, they get the nodding. They start slurring their speech, everything slows down, their heart rate slows down. Right? So this is what we reading about right here.
That's crazy.
It's like a watered down version of the drug.
That's crazy, man. Use that thing as a sleep aid.
As a sleep aid.
Drink. Man.
Right.
We just read they drunk.
That's promethazine. Let me look that up.
We just read that. That's what gall is.
Yeah.
Poppy inside of the damn liquid, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
You gotta get out there.
So promethazine. Let me see.
You gotta put codeine.
Yeah, codeine. That's what it is.
Yeah, like pop up. It's opium.
Yep.
That's opium, man. That's heroin and
Check this out. Codeine, a sleep-inducing and anesthetic drug derived from morphine. And morphine comes from the poppy plant. See that? So you got Future talking about he going codeine crazy. He's a damn Roman, man. Yeah, or Egyptian.
Or Greek.
Yeah, Pharaoh.
That's madness, man.
So,
Go ahead. Crazy.
You ready?
Yeah.
For good times, they consume meconium, a drink made of poppy leaves, which could be considered as a watered-down version of the drug.
He said they did it for
Moreover,
good times.
opium was not just
real quick,
legal,
he said
but
he did it for
easy
good times.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Get Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 10.
For good times, they consume opioid in the watered down version as a sleep aid. That's lean.
Don't just do that for good times.
That's lean.
I'm about to pull a four.
Anytime.
Yeah, I'm about to pull a four, man.
Recreation.
I got that red. I got the green.
Yeah, I'm about to pull a four.
I gotta walk.
I got a walk.
That's all.
I got a phone.
Things are giving you names.
Yeah, Jake in love with that lane, man.
What's doing that?
I heard one Jake say, I don't play about that. I don't play about her. He kind of called her her.
That's that Lil Wayne spirit. Me and my drink spirit.
I'm a party baby.
Bring this up.
That's an idol.
Yeah, that is an idol, brother.
Wayne got a whole song talking about me and my drink.
Drinking my cup.
It's the book of Proverbs chapter 6 and 10.
That's all.
It say, yet a little sleep.
Go to verse 9.
Verse 9. How long without sleep, O sluggard?
Go away and say love, not sleep.
That's
All right, Proverbs 11.
That's 11.
Hold on. I'll go to verse 9, yeah.
How long without slugger? Proverbs 6 and 9. How long without sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
Why you keep wanting to sleep, man? Why you keep wanting to damn pour up this codeine, mix these different potions together, this opium? Why do you want to sleep, man? Keep reading.
Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the it's like a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man.
Right, and this stuff expensive too, man.
Yeah,
that codeine is expensive. I think it's like damn $1,000 for a line or something crazy like that.
The price
It's like 300.
that's insane. And they
No, they spending bands on
So how much damn 4 lines is
So like a whole
1,200.
16,
like
$16 times 300.
That's insane.
right? So that's like a damn $1,000 just to get high. That's why the scriptures say your poverty is gonna come as one that traveleth, man. Because if you always traveling, of course you're gonna be in poverty.
And then they talking about the sleep aid in the watered down version. That's why people be talking about people sipping green. Because I guess it's the watered down version.
Yep. That's right, brother.
It's like you slouchy.
It's verse 4 though.
So you gotta kind of know about this stuff, man. It don't mean you're into it. You just gotta kind of know the knowledge of it, so you can know how to get Jacob from
Knowledge of
doing
good
it.
and evil.
The knowledge of good and evil.
Kind of bring
As
us up.
gods. Psalms 82 and 6. Keep reading.
I'm gonna jump to verse 4. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 4. Give not thy sleep. It's like you give not sleep to thy eyes, nor slumber to thy eyelids.
See that? So when you sipping that codeine, you giving sleep to your eyes. I mean, we all seen videos. We seen firsthand Jake kind of that cup in his hand, spilling the damn codeine everywhere, all on his pants. He jammed up because he's trying to be something that he's not, and he's trying to damn get some kind of damn euphoria out of taking these drugs, just like that he did in the ancient world. We'll keep going on that
Video.
Yeah.
For good times, they consume meconium, a drink made of poppy leaves, which could be considered as a watered-down version of the drug. Moreover, opium was not just legal, but easily accessible on the streets of Rome. It could be purchased as small tablets in specialist stalls in most marketplaces. Who says the past wasn't progressive?
But not
Just like
everything
today,
was
back
legal.
in ancient Greece and Rome, while some drugs in controlled use were legal, several drugs were actually illegal. In Capua, for example, drug sellers were found in a notorious area called Seplacia. The place had such a bad reputation that Seplacia became a synonym for mind-altering drugs, perfumes, and ointments.
That's crazy.
Drugs that were commonly found in such black markets were quite exotic and powerful. Dead nightshade
And
was
this
so
was in
trendy
Rome,
that it was
man.
often associated with pseudo-arts of magic and potion making. Some credit about relating deadly nightshade with
Your first
mystical powers
people
goes to
were
the poet Ovid.
This is the expansion of Rome.
Right? So this was in Rome.
Wow. That's mad.
Going to this one. It said black markets were quite exotic and powerful. Deadly nightshade was so trippy that it was
They said it was used to make potions.
used to make potions.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yo,
that.
Jason,
It's like
Wishes.
it's like a date rape drugs.
and Jason and I like, yeah, I got this exotic. Got some exotic for you.
Yeah, yup. I got that exotic. I got that nightshade. That's something Jacob say. Yeah, damn Zaza.
They say to drink that. They say that shit.
Potion too.
Yeah, potion.
Yeah, you do call it potion.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That first Peter chapter 4 verse 1. Because this is what they was doing in Rome, man.
Wow.
Rome was vile. Bring it up.
It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4, verse 1.
Right.
For as much then as Mashiach have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that have suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of man.
To the what?
To the lust of man.
Right? You can't keep living to the lust of man. Right? You keep going to that damn drug dealer. Right? You keep calling his phone. You got his phone locked. You got his number locked in. Hey, let me get his zip. Right? Hey, let me get a 3.5.
You got,
This, and that.
you got the drug dealer on auto pay, man.
Yeah. Got on damn speed dial. Right? His drug dealer, he know you gonna come. He's waiting for you. And every Friday, he just looking at his clock.
Every
waiting for
paycheck.
you.
He give you a little more too.
So you living after the lust of your damn drug dealer. His lust is to get your money and to extort you and to oppress you. Bring it up.
But to the will of Yahweh.
But to the will of the Lord. Read on.
For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in you pronounce that word, walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, reveling, Salakia, banqueting, and abominable idolatry.
See that? So that goes in the lines of partying, turning up, lasciviousness, freaking off, popping pills, doing opium, doing nightshade, having a good old time in Rome, in wickedness. So that's why Paul, he was getting on the Romans in Romans, the 1st chapter. He said, look, now y'all homosexuals, y'all giving to y'all lust. So you know Paul was seeing them do drugs.
God. Jake had to abstain from this back then, man.
It's,
Serious,
and scripture tell you how Paul was in situations where he was robbed, man. Why do you think people want to rob you? Because they want your money. So they could probably go get some drugs. It's the same thing today.
Black market illegal drugs.
Right.
They knew where they was selling at, like the Carters, man. They knew where they was at. That's like the Carters, man.
That's right. Why do you think they were trying to rob Paul? Because he probably had money that they wanted. right? Imagine he doing all these different missionary journeys at night, you know, in the creases and the crevices of Rome.
Yeah, nice stuff.
You know what I'm saying? You know, he was well off, the Lord took care of him. So he's got these junkies on the corner of Rome, they kind of looking at him. They kind of eyeing that garment, or that fly garment, right? And they pull out their sword and they try and get at him, man. So you got to picture all this stuff, man. When Paul said he was
Put it to your
robbed,
neck, like.
Paul said he got robbed, he got a shipwreck, he got this, and that, and perils of the heathen, and perils of his own countrymen. You gotta think what really went down. It's the same thing today, man. Somebody rob you, they want your money. Somebody want your car, they gonna try to steal your car. Take it to the damn, what's the name? Get some money for it, sell drugs, pop pills, do this, do that. So, hey man, Rome was Rome was say it again?
Dirty place.
A dirty place, like you about to
Probably
say.
carry a certain amount of money on him.
Rome was the trenches, man.
Which is another branch of America, because Rome never fell, they just broke apart.
Yeah, Rome was a big ass ghetto.
Rome was modern day Detroit. Modern day.
That's right. I keep you got it.
Dead nightshade was so trippy that it was often associated with pseudo-arts of magic and potion making. Some credit about relating deadly nightshade with mystical powers goes to the poet Ovid, who associated the herb with witches and warlocks in his poems. The reason this drug was not easily accessible was that even a slight excess of dosage could cause death. But if consumed in precise amounts, deadly nightshade was potent enough to cause hallucinations for days. Henbane was another drug that was notorious as a magical herb. No wonder it has another name, stinking nightshade, making it a little off-putting cousin of a deadly nightshade. It was commonly used as a medicinal drug rather than recreational. Henbane was the supplementary drug that serious junkies would consume along with a cocktail of an hallucinogenic to imitate the feeling of being drunk. The drug was consumed by both inhaling it and ingestion.
Whoa. Inhaling though.
It was
So let's say you have to leave.
Smoking that joint. Smoking herbs. And they say junkies.
Mad about drugs.
Mad honey is a specific honey that is extracted from rhododendron flowers. The people of ancient Anatolia were the first to discover that neurotoxins in this specific honey cause altered consciousness, delirium, and nausea. One of the earliest accounts of mad honey comes from the Greek historian, philosopher, and commander, Xenophon of Athens. In his chronicle, the Anabasis, he wrote that his army was traveling along the shores of the Black Sea in 401 BC when they decided to feast on some local honey. A few hours later, they became disoriented and began vomiting and had diarrhea. Now, in any case, this would have resulted in a plague. But to their surprise, the next day, the whole army was fine and they traveled back home to Greece. Unfortunately, the Roman army of Pompey the Great wasn't as lucky in 67 BC. During Pompey's invasion of the Black Sea region, his army got tempted by the mad honey's honeycombs strategically placed on the route by the locals. While 1,000 Roman soldiers feasted and got high on toxic honey, King Mithridates made short work of Pompey's invasion and sent them back home with their tails between their legs.
Madness. Performance enhancers.
As we mentioned earlier, drugs are often discussed in the existing historical records and literature from ancient Greece and Rome. However, there are rare cases when they are not only mentioned, but also acted as an important element in the plot. Homer was specifically liberal about the depiction of drugs in the Odyssey. In one instance, he narrated how Helen of Troy liked to dope her wine with a happy drug that can take away her painful memories and bite of anger. Now, according to Homer, this drug was so potent that under its effect, one wouldn't feel any sort of sorrow, guilt, or remorse. Even if their family was murdered in front of them, one would still be calm and happy under the effect of this drug. There were also drugs that could be considered ancient performance enhancers. Performance enhancers have always been in demand among males throughout history. In Homer's The Odyssey, Odysseus had to drag his crew away from the land of the lotus eaters. There were no ordinary lotuses, but a specific breed called blue lotus. The psychoactive alkaloid in blue lotuses causes mild euphoria and tranquility combined with an increased libido. A perfect combination for having a great time in bed. No wonder those sailors were not happy about their clean
Ecstasy,
That's
man.
ecstasy.
That's ecstasy.
Look how you on the bed.
Hennessy and ancient day.
Right?
It's nothing but
Why is he
men in
looking
this.
under that?
Man.
Taking notes.
And hold on, he looking at another man. Cause these Romans were
all over him, all
They in the room while you
mad
like that though. You naked under the cover, this man surrounding you. I don't feel comfortable.
He's looking right under his
Let me see what all those piles are there.
Ooh, he trying to show the other
Somebody
guy.
just in the back.
But if you notice though, all these side effects
to
to these drugs are the same side effects that's today to these drugs. They want to make you feel good, make you feel happy, make you forget things, make things not real, make you horny. All these things are the same things that drugs do today.
So you having a good time.
Right.
I can hear his voice through that picture, like, what's under thou there? You know what I'm saying?
God,
What
our
art
Father.
thou there?
That's just
Weird.
I don't know.
That was like
You over there trying to compare and shit.
It's like it's like ECTA. ECT.
Alright, so you got ecstasy right here.
It's really is MMDA.
MDMA, man. We ain't gonna get too deep, but basically, the desired effects include altered sensations, increased energy, empathy, as well as pleasure. So it's a increased energy for what? Increased energy for what? We already know what that is, but we ain't gonna get too much into that.
So it's not Viagra, it's just basically an ecstasy.
Well, we ain't gonna get too much into that.
Okay, calm.
It's freaking off.
Away from such land. Interestingly, hemp was used as narcotics long before opium in Europe. The mysterious Yamnaya people of Central Asia brought it to Europe with them, and the plant has been in Northern and Central Europe for over 5,000 years. Hemp ropes and fabrics are used even to this day, but archaeologists also found braziers with burned cannabis, which shows that early Greeks were smoking hemp happily. The Greek physician Dioscorides was perhaps not so approving of cannabis and found it rather hampering when it comes to a consumer's sex life. He even recommended cannabis to reduce sexual desires for those who could not control their urges in inappropriate times. Roman philosopher Pliny the Elder called cannabis the laughing weed and suggested it as a toxifying ingredient for the wine on special occasions. Romans were actually quite fond of cannabis and called it the merriment supplement to make parties and social gatherings more fun. And if we are to believe Herodotus, Greeks didn't disagree about it either.
Wow. It was blowing.
It was blowing that
Despite being very liberal about abusing narcotics, Greeks and Romans were also aware of their adverse effects. They knew very well what could happen in cases of overdosing, especially in the case of drugs like deadly nightshade. Dioscorides warned very bluntly in his writings that drugs will kill you if done excessively. However, there is another side to this story. Killing oneself was more accepted and normal back in those days. People would buy drugs specifically for these reasons. While opium was commonly used as sleeping pills, people would also mix poppy juice with hemlock to have an eternal sleep and never wake up again. That does put the whole free drug market scenario in a bad light, don't you think?
That's what people do. They want to kill themselves. They
What
take
do
a whole
you
bunch
think
of
about
pills.
Greek and Romans' love for drugs?
Right. So there you have it, man. So those were drugs in the ancient world. So with that, all praise to you. How about you now? Shalom.
Shalom.